welcome to Business Life. In this episode, we'll be spotlighting two businesses in North Jersey. Brian Scheckman will be speaking with both of the businesses. Take it away, Brian.
Hello, I'm here today with Sarah McLetty, owner of PB&J Stores. And first, I'd like to ask you, what year was your business founded?
We started PB&J in 2009.
2009. Awesome. And what is it that makes your business unique?
Well, PB&J Stores started as a women's accessory and handbag store. We started in 2009 at the Springboard Shops, which is located down the street. We were in a smaller space. We had about 1,000 square feet, which is approximately 1/3 of what I have here.
Oh, wow.
Okay. We started with the idea that there was a huge accessories market, meaning jewelry, scarves, hats, gloves, things that were not big purchases, but medium-sized purchases. And at the time, the economy was in the tank. It was just at the bottom. So women had temporarily stopped buying anything too expensive. But the accessories market remained very strong. So that's what we started with, were handbags and scarves. Oh. About 6 months into having the store space at the Springboard Shops, people kept asking us, you should get some clothing. You should do some clothing. There's no nice clothing stores around in Sussex County. So we started looking into it, and the first thing we did was bring in jeans. So we found a line of jeans that we really liked, started selling that. Then people started saying, oh, I would buy some really cute tops if you had them. So little by little by little, we started doing more and more clothing. That meant we ran out of space. So my husband and I started looking for a larger retail space, and we came across our location here, 219 Spring Street, and decided that we would invest in real estate and bought the building.
Oh, wow.
So we own our building. We renovated it and turned it into this beautiful boutique space. It is much larger than I ever dreamed it would be, but it fills a need. Here in Sussex County, we've become accustomed to not having any kind of stores to shop in. So most women who are looking for clothing, they end up going to the big box retailers that we have, but they also head down to the mall. And I really wanted to bring them something that was quality, but most important, the customer service. When you go to the mall, you never know who the owner is. You don't talk to the owner. Very likely, you'll never even see the same store's salesperson twice. So here, it's consistent. You get to know me, I get to know you, I get to know what you like. I want to know what fits and what works for you and your lifestyle and your budget, and we're going to drive our offerings towards that. So it's a very unique, intimate shopping experience compared to a mainstream shopping experience where you don't get customer service. No one really cares about you, but we do. And hopefully, by knowing our customers well, we're going to have things that you really like to buy, and you want to come back and shop with us on a regular basis. It's also good to shop local.
Absolutely. And having that unique customer service ability, it makes every shopping experience genuine and one of a kind. And I think that is definitely something that in today's economy people are looking for, because you can go anywhere and get anything, but they're looking for the experience of doing those acts that can make a difference.
There's something very important about having that old-fashioned hometown shopping experience. I think in an age of we're bombarded by media images, we're bombarded by mass advertising that's driving us to big labels, big names, but behind all of that is a big blank unknown face. When you shop local, you're supporting somebody who's right here in your community. In our store, we actively give donations to area organizations, school organizations, organizations that benefit the community. So our money is staying in the community simply because I'm donating tricky tray type donations. I may serve on boards and actively design activities here that support redevelopment in Newton and help Newton grow and thrive and be better. All of that is because I live here. I want a quality of life. I want you to have a quality of life. That doesn't happen if you don't support local retail. So that's all kind of figures into the uniqueness and the unwritten code of making a community a great place.
What was the catalyst that drove you to create your business?
One of my favorite questions. I didn't start out in retail. I don't even have a retail background. Okay. Really? I've only been doing retail about 5 years. Before that, I have been a IT specialist. I was a software consultant for more than 25 years. I served school districts in the state of New Jersey and also outside of the state of New Jersey throughout my, at this point, almost 30-year career. I needed an Act Two. So just like many women and men my age, I found myself at the end of a career and needed to figure out what am I going to do next, because I'm not ready to pack it in and just vacation full-time in Florida. Okay, so I told my husband the only way I would start another organization was if I loved what we were selling and I saw myself doing this all the time and I could embrace it as a passion. So the thing that I know in addition to technology is clothing. I'm a woman. I own clothes. I shop. I have a lot of opinions on what I think looks good and what I think is worthy of people's time and energy. And so I can embrace that. I can get into it and it's just fun. I was kind of tired of the intensity of a technical career. Loved my technical career, loved my customers, but now I've brought all of that focus here, and I'm able to play all day long with real live Barbie dolls. Get to dress them.
Were you able to bring any of your IT experience and maybe how you incorporated it with your new business?
Oh, absolutely. The first thing I would tell any brand new retailer, if you are serious about retail, serious about growing your business to any kind of substantial volume, you need adequate tracking. Okay, coming from a computer background, it was a no-brainer. I bought a POS system. POS stands for point of sale. That means all of my inventory is computerized. All my sales are computerized. My end-of-day reporting is all automated. I can get analysis out of this database, so it tells me, are we selling more black pants or are we selling more blue pants? What size is walking into my store more frequently? I couldn't imagine running my store without technology. That and social media. You just have to be out there. Whether you love social media or you don't, it's almost a requirement.
Absolutely.
And I think the technology background helps me navigate that. It certainly helps me assess whether I want to do business with someone who's providing those services. I can talk the talk and make a good decision. So none of that background was ever lost, never goes to waste.
That's great. Looking back now, what advice would you give to your 19-year-old self?
I was 19 a long time ago. I think when I started college, I wish that I had thought bigger. I wish that I had dreamed a little bigger and had just a little more self-confidence to take bigger risk. I'm impressed by the young people I meet these days because the internet has made the world a smaller place. And there's a lot more willingness to take risk. And there's a lot more willingness to say, gee, I would like to be an exchange student and live in Italy for an entire year, even though I don't speak the language. Well, back in the 70s when I was coming out, that was too intimidating. And I didn't know anybody who was doing anything like that. So I wish that I had explored those options more actively. I actually wish that I had tackled more technical positions. I think that I have a good technical mind, but I didn't really know how I stacked up. So I wanted a comfort level. You don't win by staying comfortable. You win by pushing, by getting out of the box, by trying things that scare you to death. That's how you gain confidence and you go in amazing places. It took me a long time to apply that. But now that's what I would look back and tell anybody, be fearless. Be fearless.
I'd like to thank you again for taking the time out to speak with us. And once again, come on down to PB&J stores where you can check out some of their fabulous clothing and accessories. We're here today with Dan Hayak of Hayak's Market. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing well, thank you.
First, we'd like to ask you, what year was this business founded?
1939. It started by my grandfather.
Oh, wow. So it's a family-run business.
Absolutely.
And what is it about your business that makes it unique?
Well, we make a lot of homemade items. First of all, we're a family-owned business, which, everyone's a little bit different. But, we're always, my wife, myself, my kids run the store with a lot of other employees who have been here for years and years. But we number one, we're standing in our meat department. Our meat department is one of the best meat departments you'll find anywhere around. More variety than anybody else. We have butchers behind the counter that'll custom cut anything you want. We're very service oriented, not only product oriented where we have the best product around, but very service oriented. Our butchers will tell you how to make something, how to cook it, what to stuff it with, what to season it with, how much you need. All of those questions are answered here. So like I said, that's part of it. We have the best deli around. We always win. We always win it when the Herald does their best of everything. We always come in the #1 deli in the county. Boar's Head's awarded us a Deli Distinction Award. There's only 17 in the country right now.
Oh, wow.
And it's got to do with having a great deli, cleanliness, service, products. We have more Boar's Head products than anybody in the county. Like I said, we make more prepared foods here than anybody. We constantly making chicken pot pies, beef pot pies, shepherd's pies, lasagnas, quiche. If you go over there and look in the prepared food section, all prepared food sections, that's all made here every day. So, like I said, we do all of that. Homemade salads, we've been doing that for years and years. Soups, chilies, macaroni and cheese, all of that stuff. Like I said, we make here. We've been doing it for years and years. So that's part of what makes us unique. But if you look around, these small stores like this, it's kind of where you look around, it's either a supermarket or a convenience store. These niche stores like this, you don't see a lot of. So that's kind of like what makes us unique. You see one in maybe every few towns, but they're few and far between. And to do that on the level we do is really few and far between.
What made you decide to follow in your grandfather's footsteps and maybe your father's footsteps and join the family business rather than venturing off on your own and doing something completely different from the family?
It was always what I decided to do. Was growing up as kids, we all worked here. I worked here, but it's always what I wanted to do. Just like I said, my whole life I always thought I was going to do it, and when you kind of start down that path, and it just becomes what you were going to do. And like I said, there was never another option.
That's awesome. What was the catalyst, do you believe, that helped your grandfather decide to found this business and this type of industry?
His brother had a store in this town also. They moved up here from Patterson in the late 30s, and they came up here, and like I said, they moved up here, and his brother had one up here, and that's why they came up. And I guess that's kind of what got him started. He saw how successful his brother was. Back then, it was little small stores in town. There was no supermarkets. There was no store that's even this size. There were probably 3 or 4 stores right on Spring Street. And like I said, his brother had one across town, and he was successful at it. So I think my grandfather, and actually our first store was on Spring Street.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, I think that was the thing to do. And actually, before this, my grandfather worked in a silk mill, and during the war, you couldn't get any silk. So the silk mill kind of dried up. So I guess this was looked at as a safe industry.
Oh, that's amazing. Yep. Now, looking back on your life today, what advice would you give to your 19-year-old self?
That's a good question. I think probably what I would do is when I got out of college and took over the store, we didn't cook as much stuff. There was more a butcher shop and a deli and groceries and produce and things like that. But prepared foods was really even in the industry just in its infancy. So we really didn't do a lot of prepared foods back then. So I think after college, I might have went to some sort of culinary institution for a couple of years just to kind of learn a little bit. We have great chefs, and it's great, and everything I've learned from watching them. But I think on my own, I probably should have, and if my son were to follow in my footsteps, I think I would have him do that also. Just kind of go into culinary just to learn, so I mean, we learned how to cut meat from working with our butchers here over the years. I grew up doing that stuff, but it probably would have helped me to help. I can create stuff by tasting it, but like I said, we've hired a lot of talent, which is great, but I could have done some more stuff on my own, but that's probably it.
Okay. Well, once again, we'd like to thank you for taking part in our program today. Please make sure you come down to HayX Market, do some grocery shopping, grab some of those great prepared foods that they have, and just get some all-around great customer service. Thank you again.
Hey, thank you.
After the break, we'll be talking with the owner and general manager of Benzie Restaurant. Welcome back to the Business Life. Savannah Helmick will be speaking with George and Julian Ramirez. Take it away, Savannah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Savannah Helmick, and I'm here with George Ramirez at Benzie's Italian Restaurant. So, George, tell me about your business.
We are a family Italian restaurant. Our background goes back about 25 years. Started in Tenafly, regular mom and pop pizzeria, and has expanded to what you see here now. We have a table service restaurant. We also have pizza.
Oh, how did you get here? Have you always been in the restaurant business?
No, I haven't actually. That happened in 1999. And what I used to do in the past was architecture. And what I did for Benzie back in '99 was do their second restaurant when they were expanding. At that time, it was the one in Tenafly, like I mentioned before, and we went into 23 restaurants at the beginning of 2010, and that's where my relationship came about with Benzie. '99, doing their second restaurant, and here I am at the fourth restaurant. I became part of Benzie, and went from sitting on a stool, drawing, to cooking food for everyone.
So, did you know someone in the Benzie business, or how did that all come about? You went from architecture to owning Benzie Restaurant.
Well, like I said, it was. I guess it was meant to be. I happened to be in this firm for this 1 year, as a matter of fact, in '99, and I met John Osso, the president of Benzie, and did that first restaurant, and then did consecutive others after that, and yeah, it was one of those things that you just go and do, one of those opportunities that you take. Granted, it's been a good a good run, and have no regrets. We do some good stuff for the people here, and we have some satisfied guests.
All right. So, you went to schooling for architecture, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, did you ever have to take any restaurant management classes, or how did you gain all this knowledge about restaurants?
It's just I guess just work ethics. I've always been only had 3 jobs in my lifetime right now. And always, try to do the best I can in whatever I do. Knowledge about restaurant, maybe it goes back to my father's side of the family in South America, Ecuador, where they have and still own restaurants and hotels. So maybe it was in there from birth. So that's probably where. And plus, I when I was when I was 14 in high school, my first job in the United States was McDonald's for a couple months. So maybe it was all there from the beginning.
Good first-hand experience. So, I heard that this is a family-owned business, so you have your son working here as your manager, correct?
That's right.
How is it working with your son, with your family, and your business?
Well, my youngest son, Julian, is the manager here presently. before Julian, I worked with my older son George a lot more in a couple other restaurants. It's funny how I thought that George was going to be the one to continue on and do the things that I'm doing, but it seems like he took off, and then my other son came in for the rescue, and I believe me that I'm very impressed with Julian and what he's doing here and his commitment to it. And again, there goes somebody that studied computer science and is doing restaurants. but very well, a very great job, a very good job actually.
So, what do you think has been the hardest part about your job? What's been the biggest, obstacle you've had to overcome in this business?
I guess there's no real there's no real glitches. I mean, what usually happens here's the restaurant business in a nutshell. You have great months, and then you have a week or two where things just fall apart. And I mean falling apart from no one showing up to work, heating going out, no food. But you have those moments where it becomes a little bit of a hectic moment, and you got to overcome it. You gotta just use your survival instincts and survive. And if there's an obstacle, I mean, just those are when they come around.
So
but we're still here, so we haven't. We've survived them.
You've survived so far. Tell me, what is the biggest thing that stresses you out from, like, on a day-to-day, what is on your mind constantly that you're always worried about?
Just those little obstacles, having a guest come in and something goes awry. Something can go wrong. I mean, an order, when somebody places an order, it takes about 5 different people to execute it. Someone taking the order, someone reading the order, someone serving the order, and sometimes something goes wrong, or someone cooking the order, and that's my fear, when we don't do it correctly or something goes wrong, and we have to fix it, and that's because we want to make sure that everybody's happy and everybody leaves content. And that's my fear, just making sure that happens.
All right, George. Well, tell me a little bit more about yourself, your likes and dislikes. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do outside of your restaurant?
Well, if I don't know if you're going to interview any other people in the restaurant business, but there's not much you can do because you live at the restaurant and you dedicate a lot of the times. But this year, I mean, we did get to go to a cruise to Italy, so we've had some moments with the family. It is, especially this business, if you wanted to succeed, you have to be hands-on, and you got to be in it to win it.
So you said you were an architect. Do you ever want to come in here and spruce up the place, do different things with it? Do you ever have awesome ideas you want to appropriate in here?
We do. I mean, it's always on the mind what we can do to improve things. As a matter of fact, like I said, back when we started growing with only one restaurant, one of the things that I decided to do was to stay with the company, become part of the company, but also, as we were growing, I was still doing the architecture, I was still doing the planning, I was still involved in that. So I saw it as a win-win for me, do restaurants and build them and create them, and that's what I did.
Do you get to pick what kind of music is played in here, or what kind of music is your favorite?
I like all kinds of music. I don't particularly, we don't do the Italian the Italian music. We're a family. We're more more modern. So our music could be the '90s. The music could be the '70s. It could be anything. Of course, it's not no loud, popping, rocking songs, but it is some of the old tunes, and that's what we do as far as music.
All right. Well, thank you, George. So, looking back at your life, what can you say that you would tell your 19-year-old self? I mean, what advice would you have?
That's a tough one. What do I do if I was 19 again? I guess, well, one of the things I did, I don't regret. I mean, I did get married at 20. My wife was 19. I mean, still, well, it was, yeah. We're both into our 50s right now. But I would say maybe just wait a little more as far as that part of my life. As far as the business end of it, I saw an opportunity with the restaurants. I took it. Way different from what I was doing, and look for opportunities. Don't be afraid. You gotta throw yourself out there if you're going to make a difference.
All right, George, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I'm here with Julian Ramirez at Bensi Italian Food Restaurant. So, Julian, tell me about your position as manager of Bensi's.
Managing Bensi, wow, it's actually a lot. I'm the general manager here, so I kind of have to oversee everything versus having like a kitchen manager, which we do have, and then having somebody who just does the floor, which is out here. So I kind of have to oversee a little bit of everything here. I guess what it really means is just making sure everything goes smoothly. That's usually how I try to define my own position. Is I just make sure that everyone else is getting their job done, and that they are like slacking or falling behind, or if they need help, then I'm always there for that. That's usually what I try to do, at least when I'm here. Besides my other things that I have to do, which are like doing orders and stuff like that. It's a lot of things to do. It's a lot of things to oversee and pay attention to, but the bulk of it I try to do is just to make sure that my customers leave happy and like they get serviced well. So that's really it.
All right, so what behind-the-scenes jobs do you have that's not necessarily out on the floor?
Oh, that's like my office days. That's usually my Monday. I like to use that for. For that, I usually try to do inventory. So for at least for the bar, that's the inventory that I take care of. I take stock of what we have, what we've used, what we need. Also, ordering is same thing for that. Just any alcohols that we might need. Also, we have a lot of paperwork that we do because every day. The way that we work here is we close out all of our business is done daily. So at the end of the night, we do a whole end of day and everything closes out, and then all that information and all that paperwork, I have to do that and then send it over to our office. So it's a lot of going through things, double checking, making sure I have the right amount of like credit card receipts and stuff like that. So that's kind of my morning day-to-day duties, but on Mondays at least, that's when I try to get as much of it done as possible. That's if I fall behind or leave it for the next day. So that's really it.
What is the biggest obstacle or one of the hardest things about your job?
Oh wow, hardest things I guess is just getting everything done. I'm a big purveyor of like lists. So I usually make like tons of lists, and like especially if you ask anybody who works with me here, they usually see me writing them down and then like crossing things off and stuff. It's really just getting everything done in a day that you'd like to get done, because there's really no set amount of things that you should do every day. It's just more of a number of things that just need to be done, and then how much of it can you get done as often and as quickly as you can. The other challenging part, I guess, for me, I would say is at least the customer relations. Not that I'm not shy or anything, but going up to somebody new that you've never seen before or anything like that, it's like you have to go and you have to talk to people, and it's like daily, and it's all the time, and it's the entire time that you're here. So it's not necessarily hard, but you gotta kind of get a little bit of courage to do that, you know? So those would be my challenging issues, I suppose, when I'm here.
All right, so you worked your way up to manager. How did you originally start out at Bentsy's? How did you get your start?
Oh, wow. Well, I've actually been working with Benzie for a very long time. Since I was 14, I guess. I started out as doing like takeout and just taking orders and ringing people up. I did that for a long time up until I could actually serve tables, and then that was my main start, especially here, because I had done takeout at other locations and stuff way before this one had ever been even opened. But after this one had opened about 2 years later, a year or so later, I actually started working here, and I started out as I did serving. So I served tables for a solid 4 years here, so I've kind of been here for a lot of growth in this restaurant, at least, which has been a really nice one, I have to say. It's one of my favorite ones working at. But then I became manager by I'm not entirely sure how that happened, to be honest. Well, my dad happens to be the regional manager, like the owner of Benzie. So one of the owners of Benzie. So what had happened was, I had helped him at another location as a manager, and I guess I had done a good job. So then he asked, well, we were kind of in transitions here, and then he asked if I would do it. So I kind of said yes, and here I am a year later doing it. So I guess that's kind of how that started.
Did you have any other careers that kind of led you here, or, I mean, what kind of things did you go to school for? How did you prepare for this job?
Experience has been my biggest teacher, at least for here. But when I went to school for computer science and math, so it's entirely in a different route. But after I had served here for a while, I had actually gotten an internship in the city, and then I was working there exclusively for about a year and a half, and then that was in marketing, which was not even anything I went to school for. So I've just kind of bounced around a little bit, but I have to say that just experience has really taught me a lot for here. Seeing my dad work, working with him has helped. Also, just having started from the bottom, well, not I suppose the bottom, and working my way up, and then learning how to do all the different aspects have kind of really helped me be able to do this, be a manager at least, because then I know what needs to be done here, what needs to be done there, how to do them, and then how to improve. At least one of my employees need to do it as well. So I guess that would be one of the big things. Also, I'd have to say, working in the city was actually a pretty good experience as well, doing marketing at least. It was an internship, I suppose, but I didn't really do your regular internship things. They actually put a lot more responsibility on my shoulders. I did like whole grassroots and outreach and things like that. And there was just a lot of, I guess, like clerical work would be the way of saying it. Like there was a lot of bookkeeping and things like that, and all that kind of helped me be a little bit more organized and be a lot more focused, at least within my job. So I think that was also a pretty good one as well.
So you said you worked with your father, George, who we did in the last segment. Tell me more about the family dynamics, working in the same restaurant as each other. What's the ups and downs of that?
That one's a funny one, actually, because I guess the hard part there is actually keeping our relationship out of work. Because I know him, obviously he's my father, I know him well and things like that. There's times when we're disagreeing about something, we'll fight, and it's more of it kind of reaches more of a personal level between us, at least, than it probably would versus like just two different managers who don't really know each other, or who are just working together. I guess it's kind of good though, because I have to say I've learned a lot from him. One of the biggest things I've noticed, at least, is that when you don't really know who your superiors are and things like that, there's that level of insecurity, I guess, where you don't want to do the job wrong and things like that. With me and him, it's a lot easy. I find that I learn a lot more and I do a lot better because I'm comfortable asking him questions, asking for help, needing things that I need to get from him. If I can't do it, he'll help me figure out how and things like that, and then that's how I learn and then do it better the next time, So I'd have to say that it's kind of a good thing. It's something that I think some people it would really learn from, like most people would learn from. So I'd say it's a pretty good experience. Although there's days where I could probably do without them, but those are far and few between though. So
I think we all have those days. So where do you see yourself going in a couple years? I mean, do you plan to stay on at Bentsy's? You want to take over for your dad? Or, I mean, what's your plans?
At least for my own plans, I'd actually like to try something that I went to school for, before. This is always a good fallback, I find, because it is something that's kind of a family business in its own way. But more importantly, it's something that I've done for so long that I'm secure in actually coming back to doing it, whether it be here or a different restaurant or anything like that. But I'd like to at least make an attempt at using my degree towards a career and things. I guess I would like to go back to school briefly, if anything. Just to kind of refresh my memory, especially for computer science, for things like that. A lot of practice is key. So if you're out of practice the way I am, it's best to get it together. So, but otherwise, I'd like to leave here at some point, possibly come back, but I'd like to leave here in good hands. So when I'm actually ready to go, I'd like there to be a proper successor before that actually happens. So.
All right, so you want to do something in computers. What would be your dream job? Are there any companies you would definitely want to work for, or do you have any ideas about that?
Dream job. I don't know. Well, I went to school for computer science, which is kind of a more general degree, I suppose, within the realm of computers. But one of the things that stuck out most to me was programming, at least. It came really naturally to me, and it was very logical for me, and it made sense. So I kind of excelled at that. That's something that I would really like to try out a little more. As far as companies go, I'm not really sure exactly, because software is used for almost everything and anything. So it's really just finding your niche. But I'd have to actually try I'd have to dabble a little bit more before I can figure out what exactly suits me and what doesn't. But programming, at least for sure, is kind of up my alley. I don't know, something about writing code that makes my day. So.
All right, so let's wrap it up. Looking back at your life, what advice would you give to your 19-year-old self?
I think it's a terrible question, but it's not. It's actually it's a really good question, because technically you'd probably give yourself the best advice you could. If I could tell myself anything, it would be maybe try a little harder. There are times where I've think that I could have done a lot better. Well, not better in my life or anything, better in just decisions. I could have made better decisions. That's what it would have been. It would have been more to heed the advice of that I've heard, that I've learned, that I know of, rather than disregarding it. But I suppose that's something that everyone else would kind of say. But I think I'd really appreciate it more if I actually paid attention to myself, paid attention to my own conscience most of the time, more of the time rather. But I guess that's it.
Well, thank you so much, Julian. Back to you, Caitlin.
Once again, we want to thank Sarah McLetty of the PB&J stores, Dan Hayak of Hayak's Market, George and Julian Ramirez of Benzie Restaurant, and a special thanks to the Communications Club, TV Productions 1, and EDTV Channel 20. I'm Caitlin Zagola, and until next time, we'll see you later.